Today's guest may be a high-end concrete finisher, a father and a farmer, but what's more interesting is that he's also a ghostbuster. Jim Kolisnyk lives in the valley, and apparently he is not alone. His hobby includes speaking with and meeting ghosts throughout BC. He highlights his experiences and the equipment he uses to gather intel on those unknown souls via audio, lighting, and cameras. Without further ado, welcome Jim Kolisnyk. Hey Jim, welcome to the show.
Thanks for having me.
So Jim, tell us a little bit about yourself. Your day job is as?
I do custom design concrete work, interior mostly, kitchen countertops.
And you're a local here?
Yeah.
In Chilliwack?
Yeah.
Great. And how long have you been in the region?
I've been in Chilliwack. I've been coming out here ever since I was a kid. Living here 6 months.
Perfect. And you have been doing something a little supernatural as well. Do you want to tell us a little bit about that?
Yeah, I got a group going, Vancouver Supernatural, and we aim to just help people mostly, and that are having issues in their homes, and help them get through it and help them deal with it. And we do other things like big venues throughout Vancouver.
So what got you interested in this particular other hobby?
When I was a kid, well, not a kid, I was about 19, 20, I was living in Abbotsford in a really haunted house. It was very, very haunted. Yeah.
And how did you determine that?
My brother and I lived in the house, and one night we were both sleeping and we got woken up to two little boys bouncing a ball up and down the stairwell in between our bedrooms. It lasted for about 20 minutes, and you could hear the kids play. You can feel the ball bouncing on the wall and the door, and they'd come down, get the ball, run back up, drop it down again. My dogs wouldn't come in the house. It was very haunted. If I had, and knowing that, and knowing what it's like to live in a haunted house, I know what people are going through. So it's nice to be able to help them. There was cold spots. There was you just always felt like you were being watched.
In a negative way, or you just felt a presence? Okay.
No, well, at that time I really didn't know what it was until I heard him running up and down the stairs.
Wow.
When we first moved in, the lady next door come over. She used to own the house, and she said, "Have you seen any ghosts yet?" I go, "What? Ghosts?" And sure enough, there's a couple boys living there.
And so what was the backstory for them?
Honestly, I didn't do a backstory at that time. I was more scared than anything.
Okay.
Like I couldn't sleep in the house if my brother wasn't there. I'd go, if he was at his girlfriend's place, I would just be outside in my truck, really. I couldn't stay in the house by myself.
So it did scare out of you.
I couldn't sleep in the room. It was always cold in there. There was a closet in the room where I put a bunch of luggage in when I first moved there, and it's probably still there.
Oh my God! So you really got out of Dodge?
Yeah, I just left it.
Wow. And so around Chilliwack, have you found any particular areas that are sort of the hotbed of
I've just started. I'm trying to get into a few places here.
Okay.
And
can you name names or people living in them now? They wouldn't want to be exposed. Okay. So there you go. And these spirits, do you think they left of their own volition, or was there a tragedy that allowed them to stay back?
That's always a question that I try and find out and try and connect the dots with. On a recent one we just did, I found out that the clothes that the spirit we caught on camera were the actual clothes that the spirit was wearing when they passed.
Wow.
So that was a huge connection for me.
And how did you determine that? Like, how did somebody?
Yeah, the person that was that knew the spirit was there when she had passed.
Okay, so it wasn't like you had a photograph that you could reference or anything, but you had sort of A verbal
her best friend.
acknowledge, yeah. Oh, wow.
Yeah.
So was that a recent death as well, or?
I think that it was roughly about 5 years.
Okay.
About 5 years, and nobody knows what happens when you die, so it's just all speculation.
But it obviously intrigues you because
Yeah.
here you are, a Ghostbuster.
Yeah, I like to try and communicate with them. It's a lot of fun.
And they've said words back to you, haven't they?
Oh yeah. I just
Why don't
recently,
you tell us what they've said?
I was doing I try not to bring any religion into an investigation because you don't know who you're dealing with and what you're dealing with. I was halfway through a sentence, and what I thought was my own voice said God, and just I kept talking like it wasn't even there, and it was my voice. And from what I understand, it was it was probably like a voice doppelganger or something.
So it was a spirit.
It was a mimic spirit.
Yeah.
It wasn't my voice, and we get a lot on every investigation. Well, I'd say 90% of them we get something, and I think we get something is because of the like I've had lots of crews in the past where you have interior fights and you have just uneasiness. And I think it's very important that you keep an absolute positive outlook on everything when you go into a place.
Absolutely. We're in the same situation. The crew has to be in sync with each other.
They have to be in sync, and then the more in sync your group is, the more they're going to want to come out and talk to you and communicate with you.
Right, because you actually ask them to talk to you.
Yeah, we try to communicate, and I don't push. I don't like to cleanse areas. I don't think it's our right to remove a spirit from somewhere. If they want to go, they can just go. You can help them, maybe move on to wherever it is they go. But I just want to know who they are.
Right, right. Okay, we're going to take a short break, and we'll be back in just a moment. Hey everybody, and welcome back to In the Hot Seat with DW. Once again, we're introducing you to Jim, and he's going to talk about a little bit about all of this apparatus you have brought with you today.
Well,
and is that enough? Have you got enough?
Well, you want to be well prepared. It's a lot of time invested in getting into a place, so you want to go in where you're prepared, and you have basically a whole spectrum of different things that you can communicate with. I like to start with this little setup that I built, and I have a video camera in infrared that shoots infrared, and then a video camera that shoots full spectrum, and then I have two lights, infrared lights that work off of a dimmer switch, because if what I find is if the light is too bright, it'll just blow right through spirits. All you'll see is maybe mists. The lighter, the darker it is, the more apparitions that you can see, because it just doesn't blow through them. And then these cameras are both full spectrum cameras. One works off of a laser, so if a spirit crossed the path of the laser, it'll take a picture of them. And then this one is for a manual trigger. So if I have a piece, an equipment like this here, it's a millimeter, and it picks up on the energy around it. Spirits are mostly just electromagnetic energy. So you'd have, see, as you get closer to this, and a spirit touches it, it'll go off, set off all the lights. So you basically want one of these cameras set on there to take a picture of the spirit that's playing with your instruments. We got one picture of actually Janine took a picture, amazing shot of, I don't know how she knew the spirit was there, but she just got up and started taking these pictures. And it was a orb that kind of moved around and then set off. and you can see the orb over top of this tool. The orb was about right here, and it was reading like halfway up the thing. And to get a picture of an orb touching a meter and setting it off,
that's
is
incredible.
Just so lucky. Like, she is awesome. And then,
kudos to Janine.
Kudos to Janine. And then this, it also picks up temperature, if the temperature fluctuations in the room. And
what are we at now? Because we're in the hot seat.
What are we at? No,
So what do you think is, if you had one choice out of all of this, which would be your most valuable? And I don't mean money-wise. I mean to you as an investigator.
The most valuable thing that anybody can have starting up is a digital recorder.
I have one of those. I'm sure everybody has one of those.
If you want to find out the spirit in your place and you want to communicate with them, you get a digital recorder and just play it back. You might not hear it when they talk to you and when you're asking questions, but play it back, and if they're there, they'll be talking into it and you can hear it. And when the digital came out, it was almost like, oh wow, it's just opening up a door. Because the amount of EVPs that you get through a recorder are huge.
So it's interesting that digital is superior to a magnetic tape that you're recording audio on.
Yeah, I think
Isn't
it has.
that interesting?
It's kind of strange.
Yeah.
These are the best things. So there's a whole bunch of tools that you can have. I mean, you could have ghost boxes. You can have, and that's basically a spirit talks to you through a radio frequency that is switching so fast that you really can't make it out unless you're tuned to it. Ghost hunting is really boring.
No.
So you want to bring out, you want to have, like, until you check all your evidence, you're just basically sitting there asking questions, and you don't know if they're there until they do something, or so it's kind of fun to have toys that help you determine if there's some energy in the room that's going to play with it.
Right. And then when you go to review all your footage and your audio, how do you go through those hours of footage? Because you're
just
handling so much.
Yeah, going
data.
through each. Pictures are fairly easy. Video it's very time consuming. Mm-hmm. So you have an investigation for say 3 hours. Well, I got to go through
12 hours.
Yeah, I got to go through a lot of evidence, but it's fun. And if you don't like doing it, you won't stay in it. I enjoy doing it, and I don't mind listening to hours and hours and hours of video and watching video just to get that one hello.
Yeah. and they've said hello? Have they ever called you by your name?
Oh, many times, yeah.
Are you kidding?
Oh, yeah.
Wow. What's your oldest spirit? And by that I don't mean how long they've been departed, but their age at the time you're seeing them.
It's really hard to put a number on it, but I would say for me, I find more children. I find and I was told that they maybe come to me and I have guides that are children, mm-hmm. and I like to help. If there's a child, I'll try and help as much as I can. You can't dabble in it too much, or you might make things worse.
And how often do people pick up the phone and say, "Jim, help me"?
Quite often.
Do they?
Yeah, quite often.
And we still don't want to see if there's any around here right now. We're not ready for that.
If there was something in here, most of the
it's
times
going to be on our cameras.
I feel it. Yeah, I mean,
there
could have
you go.
one standing right beside us, and we
right
don't even
on.
know.
Wouldn't that be something?
Yeah.
Okay, well, once again, thanks, Jim, for joining us and talking about all your ghost busting experiences here in the Valley. And thanks again, everyone, for joining us for this episode of In the Hot Seat with DW. I'm your host, DW, and we'll see you again.